"What a pity," he cried, "that good coat should rot there, while mine with hard wearing is patched ragged and bare. The world is oft dealt so, nor does it seem strange. What sayest thou, friend Scarecrow? Should thee and I change?" The Scarecrow said nothing. Tom construed consent, so undressing immediately went, dressed himself and the Scarecrow in each other's coat, though both put together were scarce worth a groat. Welcome to the Homestead. It is a beautiful fall day, and we've got a project. I got Ivy here to help me out, and let me tell you this story. It wasn't very long ago, maybe a week or two ago, when I was working out here on the homestead and I heard the chickens go crazy, making all kinds of noise and squawking, which isn't what their normal kind of noise level is. And I rushed out and I said, "What's going on?" And there was a hawk that was flying over this area out here by the homestead. It was obviously after the chickens. The chickens were smart enough to hide underneath a thorn bush where they couldn't get attacked. But it made me think, I can't stand out here all the time and protect my chickens. What I need is a scarecrow. The scarecrow in the fall is just this classic thing we see, isn't it? And it made me think, now, is a scarecrow proper for the 18th century? Would you have a scarecrow on a homestead just like this? Well, I started doing the research, and scarecrows go way back. Now, sometimes a scarecrow or a scarifier was a person, maybe a little boy that you would hire to go out and bang kettles or, shake their fists at birds as they fly over the fields. But sometimes you didn't want to pay a little boy to do that, and you made a scarecrow, a dummy, to stand out there to make the birds think a person was standing there. I don't have any paintings or any drawings of scarecrows, but I do have some nice literature on that and a wonderful poem. In our poem, we have a wonderful description that tells us that our scarecrow is made from old clothing, probably the oldest, patched and raggedy clothing that you can come up with, because you wouldn't want to waste clothing. Well, this is what I've got to work with today. We're going to need some pants and a shirt and something to make the head out of, just a bag, a hat, and some sticks to stick our scarecrow up on. Now we just need to stuff him full of grass, and I've got some cattails here and even some corn leaves just to fill this body out. This is a poem by David Lewis, 1815, and a besom is a broom. The besom maker and the scarecrow. A man was respected all over the town for making fine besoms. His name was Tom Brown. His besoms swept clean and so neat to the eye that maids simpered at him whene'er he passed by. At woodlands and heathmoors was pretty well known, where aught that would suit him he took as his own. One day in his rounds, when his old coat he wore, his defense from the cold for 5 winters or more, in a field of cut wheat by the side of a wood, to frighten the birds off, a scarecrow there stood. Trimmed up in old clothes, a stick for a gun, the farmer concealed laughed much at the fun. For Tom, seeking broomsticks ranged over the ground, came unto the scarecrow and viewed it aground. "What a pity," he cried, "that good coat should rot there, while mine with hard wearing is patched ragged and bare. The world is oft dealt so, nor does it seem strange. What sayest thou, friend Scarecrow? Should thee and I change? The Scarecrow said nothing. Tom construed consent. So undressing immediately went, dressed himself and the Scarecrow in each other's coat, though both put together were scarce worth a groat. Tom, pleased with the change, bade the Scarecrow good night, bent homeward his way, but when scarce out of sight, he begun to reflect and say 'twas unkind to leave his companion the old coat behind. To such base ingratitude he should be loath. So he then returned back and took them both.